Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of the Black Beauty Activist podcast, where we discuss critical conversations to disrupt westernized beauty standards and raise the confidence and consciousness of the Black community. I am your host, Dr. Tameka Ellington. For those of you that don't know me, I'm an educator, scholar, empowerment speaker, author, and a lover of all things Black culture. And in today's episode, we will be discussing the work of a master. And I'm so excited to be able to have her on with me today. Did you know that braids go back as far as 22,600 BC? According to legend, the first braids were actually created by the Egyptian goddess Isis with her supposedly long magic hair. Braids have been a part of the African culture for centuries and continue to evolve with time. Many tribes in Africa adorn their hair with decorative braids, as well as other adornments, which oftentimes is a symbol of status. For instance, those individuals like our beautiful Fulani women of the West African region, they will wear a beautiful fan-like crown of braids. Another perfect example might be the Hamar women of Ethiopia, who wear a beautifully shaped bob braids with beautiful, beautiful red ochre on top. Braids today go by many different names: plaits, box braids, knotless braids, micro braids, and of course, our classic braids, cornrows, which were inspired by, the name was actually inspired by the agricultural work of our enslaved ancestors. Cornrows, or either cane rolls, depending on if you were raised in the Caribbean. Our braids have been loved, hated, and appropriated by society. And my next guest has mastered the art of loving and caring for our braids. And she has more than 30 years in the business. And it is my honor to introduce you to braid and lock guru, Debra Hare-Bye.
Hello, 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 hello. That was such a wonderful introduction with lots of accurate history.
Yes.
So I cannot wait to get into this conversation today.
Yes.
Because we do have lots to celebrate. In
Absolutely.
addition to having so much further to go. Right?
Absolutely.
And we'll get into that too, right?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. And so I'm going to go ahead and read your bio and let everybody know what an incredible woman you are and the amazing work that you do. So Debra Hare-Bye is the CEO of Oh My Heavenly Hair, Inc., right?
Yes,
Inc.
that is
and
correct.
Red Room Luxe Salon. She is a licensed cosmetologist, master braider, and celebrity natural hair stylist. She is the creator of the store, where she has available for her clients vegan leave-in conditioners, vegan hair and body wash, among other amazing products. Debra is highly sought after for her expertise in healthy natural hair care and style and creative styling. Clients and celebrities alike consistently rely on Debra's ability to maintain their glamour and star appeal. An example of Debra's expertise became signature look of actress Erica Alexander, or Max as we know her from the hit sitcom Living Single. Max's new lock hairstyle still remains one of the most admired and sought after today. Debra's master artistry continues with an impressive list, including Oprah Winfrey's Broadway box office smash, The Color Purple, to the Gossip Games, to her latest show, Gossip Table, on VH1. Again, Debra, welcome to the Black Beauty Activist podcast. It's a pleasure to have you on. And so we're going to jump right on into this interview.
Yes, yes. And thank you for that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about you. From research that I've done, I learned a little bit about you, the work that you've been doing, but tell us a little bit more personally about who Debra is, how you grew up, and what got you interested in hair and braids in particular.
You know, I have such an organic approach and attached to natural hair and braids, right? And so, like most people, I grew up in a household that was very pro-Black. I also grew up in a time where there was pressing and relaxers and the beauty entree into mainstream society was looking, presenting that was unlike our natural selves,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
that is the way that we had to move forward. That was the expectation. And when you think about what our parents did, they really did that because they wanted us to be able to make it. Yes.
Absolutely.
And so you have to give them a bit of grace, because if you did not look a certain way, you were not going to work, which meant you were not going to eat. Right. And so
Absolutely.
growing up, I tried a relaxer like everybody else, and it didn't work for me. My thing was being able to go out and come back the same way I returned. So my clothes were
Mm,
intact, but my hair was not. And
mm.
so as a child, I braided my hair and I fell in love. I was that girl in the stoop braiding hair. I was that girl who just had this affinity to, braids and twists. And locks back then was not a familiar ground for me. Braids really was more popular then.
Yeah.
Um, and so as I started to experiment and as I got older, I really had an appreciation and love for braids. And so when I had my first daughter, I really thought about, how am I going to protect my daughter because she's a baby, and being
Mm,
able to trust her with someone. That was a big
mm.
deal for me, and I was so scared, right? And so I met this young lady who I thought, well, she looks like she could do it. And she got pregnant and could not, and that was it for me. I
Mhm.
could not imagine going through that process of trying to find someone else. So I said to my husband, "Hun, I can't. I can't. I have to find something to do where I can watch her."
Yeah.
And prior to that, I had experimenting with braiding my own hair and then people seeing my hair and me doing their hair. And so I decided at that moment that that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And you won't know this about me, but there is nothing that I decide to do that I don't do proper research, that I do not um, contribute 100%. And so when I decided that that's what I'm going to do, I decided that's what I'm going to do. And so I read everything I could read. I went to school, and back then there were no natural hair schools, so I had to go to cosmetology school. And that was important to me because I wanted to have that paper, right? There was that professionalism, that on a health interfacing with the customer, at least I knew how to look for scalp disorders and things of that nature, so that I was doing my best approach to healthy hair care, right?
Yeah.
And then on top of that, then focusing on natural hair exclusively. And that was a choice. And I make that a big deal because I decided to be a braider. And I use that term. Because if you
Mm,
remember back in the day,
mm.
if you were a hairstylist, what did that mean?
That
You
means
were
perm.
probably not formally educated, right?
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
something that
Yeah.
you could do that you didn't need education, you could use your hands for, and it wasn't looked that greatly upon, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It
And
was something you
so,
did at home.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Something you did
that's
at home.
why I use that term braider as a choice, because I did have the education. And
Mm.
I chose that, right? That has afforded me to be able to raise my family well. It has afforded me not to miss any parents teachers meeting. It afforded me an opportunity to participate in life and have a career, right?
Yeah.
So that's just a little snippet of my love affair with braids, right? Natural hair.
Wow. And back when you started, this whole idea of natural hair was just something that was not popular. You know,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was looked upon as only people that didn't have enough money to get their hair done. That's what they did.
Yeah.
you know and so I have this what you're describing about the flexibility in your schedule and everything with braiding. I actually also was a braider. I
Yeah.
started braiding when I was 14,
Come on
and
now.
I that was the job that I had all throughout college. That's how
Yeah.
I helped to pay for my college, was by braiding people's
Absolutely.
hair. So the flexibility that you're talking about, I know
Mm-hmm.
exactly what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And so,
You, go
what
ahead.
would
I'm
you
sorry to make
say?
it.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. What were you about to say?
Um, I'm going to let you go ahead. It'll come back to me.
Okay. Okay. What would you say is the cultural significance of braids, and why are braids still relevant today after more than, 2000 years of their existence? Why do you think braids are still so important to us?
It is so much a part of us, right? That we don't even realize the cultural, I'm actually going to use this word, dependency, right? There was
Mm,
so much taken away from us, right? That
mm,
is something that we could wear, that we feel proud. It represents a proud part of our history. And it is something that is easy to maintain, right?
yeah, yeah,
And done properly, it is a healthy choice,
yeah, yeah,
right? So for those reasons, and I don't think we realize that because we don't look at it in that way. I think our approach now is really about beauty,
yeah,
right? And it's attractive. But when I was growing up, braids, we really wore braids that were more cultural.
yeah,
And so, this year, and we'll talk about that, I chose Nina Simone for International I Love Braids Day.
yeah,
And if you look at Nina Simone's hair, how she wore her hair, she wore some really cultural styles,
yeah, yeah,
right? And
yeah,
so that without even having the conversation, that was an opportunity to learn more about our history.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, wow. Cultural appropriation
Hmm.
is oftentimes defined as an unacknowledged or inappropriate adoption of customs, practices, and ideas, etc., from a one person or people group by another person or people group,
Hmm.
typically adopted by dominant people or dominant society. The key is the adoption of another person's culture that is usually exploitive, disrespectful, and stereotypical, whether intentionally or not intentionally. And I preface intentional or not intentional because we've heard people say, well, oh, I didn't know, and that's really not an excuse as to why, things aren't what they are, right? They are what they are. And so, what
Hmm.
are your thoughts about the traditional Black braid styles of our cultures that continue to be appropriated?
So you see me pause, right?
Yeah,
Because that is probably one of the biggest reasons why, outside of loving braids, that I wanted to create a day to celebrate it, right? We have been here, we will continue to be here, and you're going to know who we are, right?
yeah,
Because it is my goal to teach you. So perhaps you didn't know, you'll know now,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
You'll know now.
yeah,
Now, braid as a whole, that is not a style or technique that we can claim,
right,
right? Because there are all sorts of cultures and, history leading to other people that connects them to natural hair as well, braids as well, right?
right.
And so when you specifically talk about those things that have come out of Africa through the African diaspora, now we're going to have a conversation, right?
Yeah,
Because you do know,
yeah,
you do know,
yeah,
right? And so it's pulling back that respect. I'm not quite sure how we got here with some of the things that, I mean, I really clearly know how we got here. So I'm not going to say I don't know how we got here. But I think that it's very interesting, the approach that is taken as it pertains to our hair, whether it's braided or not.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
One of the things that frustrates me the most is the double standard, that is cultural appropriation.
Yes.
That's one of the things that bothers me the most, is that, as Black people, we're still fighting for the right to be able to wear our hair the way we want. And then when others wear it, it's fashionable or chic or unique, or it's something else. It's not a hindrance to them at all in
Right.
any way, shape, or form, but it becomes a hindrance to us just to be who we are authentically.
I want you to say that again because saying it I don't think people understand this, right? Because we are celebrating Crown Day and we have
Yeah.
the Crown Act, and you know, it is an opportunity to put a spotlight on something that is unbelievable to me,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
you said that we need a law
Yeah.
to wear our hair the way that it grows out of our head, that is traditional to our culture, that
Yeah.
is important to our history. I now have to ask permission. So, what part of slavery is over? I'm not sure. Which part?
Mm.
I have
Mm.
to ask.
It's still a regulation of our bodies, but it's just in a different way. They're oftentimes, we are still being regulated. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the reason why I got into wanting to study about Black beauty, because we are the only race that I know of that we get questioned often about our beauty aspects, the aesthetic of Black culture. No other culture gets questioned the way that we do, and then when we love our culture, we get questioned.
Absolutely.
And so that's one of the things that's been so important to me, is that as I've been making this journey and this transition into speaking about, writing about, that it's important for folks to know, like, just because I love Black culture doesn't mean that I am quote unquote unpatriotic, or that I don't love other cultures, or whatever the case might be. Why is it such an issue for me to just love me? You
Because it
know?
goes back to that double standard that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
It's not okay for me to love me.
Yeah. Yeah.
How is that not okay?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, we can keep on talking about this because this is a never ending story.
Let me say
So,
this, please, because I feel like this is extremely important and I want people to understand this, right?
yeah.
And so, as it pertains to our hair, and let's take a look at the workspace, right? If I walk in, or if you walk in looking like that, and I
Yeah.
look like this, what is the first thing that I see? What is the first thing that they see? I'm sorry. What's the first thing that they see? The first thing that they see is that I don't look like you. Now we got a problem,
Yeah.
right? Because I am fully standing on who I am, right? So it may not be so easy to control. That's a problem.
Wow.
That's a
Wow.
problem. So when we talk about this hair thing, it's very intentional. So
Yeah.
please understand that. I know you know.
Yeah.
It's very intentional.
Yeah. Wow.
It's all of these disruptors that we have. So it takes us off of our mark, right? So we have to be wise.
Yeah. Did you all just hear what she said? Deborah just said that when we come into predominantly white working spaces where we don't look like everyone else, that immediately tells them, without saying, that we're not going to be easily controlled. That's so deep.
Yeah.
That is so deep, because that's really what it's all about. Is,
That's
again,
it. That is it.
it's about regulating our bodies, regulating
That's
who
it.
we are and how we show up.
Hmm.
So, wow. So I will have the pleasure of meeting you in person real soon. I am so
Yeah.
pumped about that.
Yeah.
July 29th in Bed-Stuy in New York City. For
Yes,
those of you that
ma'am.
don't, yeah, for those of you that don't know, Bed-Stuy, that's in a portion of the Brooklyn area, right? Of
That
New York
look,
City. Yeah.
it's the whole Brooklyn, okay? It isn't, but it's that important, right?
Yes, yes. And so on July 29th, International I Love Braids Day. So what exactly is International I Love Braids Day, and how did this movement of yours begin?
So, International Island Braids Day is the celebration, the beauty, the history, the culture, and the design, all centered on braids and
Yeah,
braiders,
yeah,
right? Because the art that we wear on our head, right, is stunning, and the skill set that it takes to create some of these styles, right? And it is an opportunity to say that you are okay, babe, just the way you are. You're
yeah,
fine, right? And we're going to take a full day to celebrate it
yeah,
in earnest, in its purity, right? And that's why I'm excited for this day and then for those people to come out and celebrate with us, right? It
Yeah.
is a free celebration, and I did that intentionally so that money is not prohibitive, that you can come, full families come, which means children, grandma, daddy, papa, they come,
Yeah.
right? And the feedback I get is, oh my God, right? It is visually stunning and
Mm,
fun, right?
mm,
So this year, and I'm so happy you are here. I am so happy with your expertise and your love of Black things, right? Because that is something that people can feel,
yeah.
right? And it's genuinity. People can feel it,
Yeah.
right? And that's what that day is about, to lift you up in culture and in history, to have you celebrate and walk away having learned something and feeling amazing,
Wow.
right?
Wow.
I grew up in a household that my dad and mom built us up. Because if you weren't built up before you got out into that real world, you're not going to make it.
Mm,
You're not going to make it. And so it is my goal and my opportunity to build you up,
yeah.
right? And lean more into health, right? My trajectory is now more into health because we are sicker than we've ever been.
Mm,
And
mm,
it bothers me because we were not traditionally sick people,
yeah.
right? We go right to the earth and get what we need. Now we're too fancy. We don't want to do that. We don't want to listen to grandma and
Mm,
great grandma. They have all the secrets, right?
yeah. Mm.
Yeah,
It's like we've been conditioned to revel in convenience.
absolutely.
And I, you know what, that's one of the things that I think has a lot to do with whether someone chooses to wear their hair natural or not.
That is exactly what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, because they always talk about when people ask me why I'm such a, an advocate for natural hair, and it just doesn't work for me, or whatever the case might be. And they're like, it just takes too long to take care of it. And I'm like, well, you have to think about it like this. We take time for the things that we really want. We
Indeed.
make time for the things
Indeed.
that we really want. And if
Indeed.
it's important, then you'll figure it out. You'll figure out the time. But
Do you know hair care is self care?
yeah,
Right? Hair
yeah,
care sometimes is an indication that there's something wrong, meaning inside. Your
yeah,
hair will tell you,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. Think
And
about, I
so
mean,
I
those
really,
African cultures who it was a sign of mourning when you didn't do your hair.
come on,
Yeah,
come on,
yeah,
right? That attachment to self love, that attachment to just making yourself feel good,
yeah.
taking your time, right? I tell people, just like a prayer room, for those people that
Mhm.
understand what that is, you make a section in your home that is beautiful, right? You put pictures up, you have all of the things that you use to maintain your hair, and you sit in that space. That is your personal space of beauty. And then you begin to take care of yourself. Why wouldn't you want to do that,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Wow. Mm, mm. What type of activities will people be doing at International I Love Braid Day?
Wow. So much fun. We have a stilt walker, an African stilt walker. So I'm over the moon about that. We have creating the longest braid. We have, yeah. And as we're doing that, people are going to write their thoughts about what their special moments was, when they wore their hair braided, and attach it to our model. And so once it's
Mm,
done, she has all of this, good vibes that we get to show off, and she'll close the show out. We have the largest line dance. We have 4 salons participating that will show the most incredible braid art. We have in the room that you'll be in, and I'm going to let you tell them a little bit about your particular part.
mhm.
We have some amazing authors like yourself that's going to talk about their book and their journey. So I'm excited about that. We have New York Presbyterian Hospital that's going to talk about some health issues, aka how relaxers are now proven to give cancers below the belt. What are some things to look for? When I tell you we're in crisis mode, we are in crisis mode. When you have Black women that are dying in childbirth, what are we back in slavery? They're dying in childbirth,
Yeah.
right? And so, although the day is very light and it is celebratory, we do have some very serious things that we want to talk about. Remember, I said I want to have you come, have a good time, but walk away having learned a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So, please tell them what you'll be talking about. Just give them a little taste, just a
Yeah.
little taste.
Yeah. Yeah. So, everyone, I'm so excited. I'm going to be in New York. I'm actually on book tour mode. That's where I'm on book tour mode. And so, uh, the International I Love Braids Day is going to be one of my stops on the book tour, which I'm pumped about. So I'll actually this weekend coming up, I'll be in Detroit, and
Yeah.
then there's in Detroit they have a Detroit Natural Hair Festival. So I'll be in Detroit at the Natural Hair Festival, and then in when I come to New York, International I Love Braids Day. And I'm going to be talking about my book, Black Hair in a White World. I'll give a short presentation and leave some space for dialogue. I think as a speaker, as an author, as an educator, it's really important for me to be able to always open up the floor for dialogue, because that's the best way that I can connect with people. That's the best way that people can get a better understanding of concepts. And so I'm really excited about that. Whenever I get a chance to be in front of a group of people and talk about something that I love, which is Black hair,
Mm-hmm.
I'm in heaven. I'm in heaven.
Yes, yes,
I'm
yes,
in heaven.
yes. We get to
Yeah.
impart information that we actually need.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
actually need it. There's so much we don't know, and there's so much that we don't. It Our history is so painful that we just don't want to talk about it.
I know.
We just don't want to talk about it. But you can't go forward without reflecting your past,
Yeah.
right? You can't. Now, what I do want to say is that I encourage everyone that's listening to go out and buy the book so that when you attend International I Love Braids Day, Dr. Tameka can sign it
Yeah.
and you can sit there with your book having been signed by this world renowned author and walk away with some jewels.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's so important that we continue to do it, because I think people have asked me on several occasions why I keep doing this kind of work. And I'm like, well, until it's no longer a problem, I'm going to keep doing this work, you know?
The better question is, why not do it?
Yeah. Well, people that have been conditioned,
Yeah.
dominant culture, don't
Hmm.
really see much significance in the work. And our people who have been brainwashed don't see much significant in the work.
I want
And,
you to hold right there
woo,
because they do know the significance. That's why
mm,
they don't want you to do it. So they know it.
wow.
They know it,
Wow. Wow.
right?
Mm,
Yeah, they know it.
mm. They just don't want to face it. Is that it?
It's hard. It's very painful. We don't even give ourselves enough grace that we get up every day and we go about our day, right? For the most part, we're doing a hell of a job,
Yeah.
right? With
Yeah.
all of the stress and strife and mental anguish and there's so much stuff put on us every day that we just go like it's normal. And it isn't.
Yeah. Yeah. I was listening to this amazing episode earlier this morning. Every morning, I try to listen to some kind of spiritual, meditative, or motivational kind of, talk or whatever. And I was listening to this gentleman who was talking about the makeup of our DNA,
Hmm.
and how deep of how our DNA is basically just like data. Like the amount of data that's in a
Yeah.
computer, our body has like a billion times more data and just in our DNA, where our DNA is able to remember things that have gone on in the past. Like what the amount, I think they said like 19 billion megabytes or something like that of data
Mm-hmm.
is what our DNA holds, which is
Yeah.
about the same amount of time that the universe has been in existence, about 19 billion years, right? And so they were talking about how, as Black people, seeing as though we're only so many generations removed from
Not that
slavery,
many.
right, so many generations removed from slavery, that DNA that our ancestors faced is still so
No, we're
impacted.
walking around with post-traumatic stress, for sure,
Yes,
for
yes,
sure. And so you have
yes.
a lot of clinicians that are now trying to um, focus on that so that we can actually get help on a mass level.
Mm, wow. Well, is International I Love Braid Day, is it a holiday yet?
That's what I'm working on. So we'll be able to vote and sign petitions
Yes.
at International I Love Braids Day. But you can go on my website now, ohmyheavenlyhair.com, and click the happenings link, and everything will come up. And take your time and kind of go through it, but that will come up. Please sign it. Tell all of your friends and family to sign it as well, because
Absolutely.
it needs to be a day.
It does.
It needs
Absolutely
to be a
does.
day.
Absolutely. And so how can people get registered for the event? I know I'm sure you're, expecting people to come from all over. So this is not just a New York thing. This is an everyone thing. So even if you're not in New York, please come. Take a, one take trip or take a flight to come to New
It
York
is
City.
worth it.
Yes, it is. It's
It
gonna
is
be
worth
definitely
it.
worth it. Yeah.
So they can go to my website, ohmyheavenlyhair.com, and that's ohmyheavenlyhair.com. And as I said, you can click the happenings link, and that will lead you to all the information. It says register, and that will take you to the page to register. Also, you'll see some product there that is very low cost as a way of celebrating health. Additionally, for those that cannot make the event, there are other ways to participate. On July 28th at 11:59, we are asking everyone to post a photo of yourself with braids or braid style that you like.
Yeah.
And that will have the tag I Love Braids 2023. And so
Right.
we hope that we can take over the net and just see these wonderful images that will link back to International I Love Braids Day, so that if people don't know, they will know we are here.
Yeah. Yeah. So
We
on
are here.
on July 28th at
11:59 and
11:59.
throughout the day. Just
Yes.
post, 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 post.
Yes. 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 Absolutely. Well, I can't wait. I got braids just so that I can come.
I love it. I love it. We have to
Yes.
show
Come
out. We
ready.
have to show out.
Yes. Yes. So you are such an amazingly creative woman in all the work that you do. And I remember I saw last year that you had some amazing women with these like glow in the dark braids. So like what
Yes.
what creative thing are you doing this
That
year?
was so fun. And that
Uh-huh.
is coming again. So stay tuned. That
Okay.
was so much fun. In my older age, believe it or not, I really started to venture in more color. Color is huge for me because color is fun. And what I realized that color is therapy and color is you don't take yourself so serious with color, right? There's
Yeah.
so much pressure from every other thing. Have fun, right? The glow in the dark. Have fun. Right? Remember when you were younger and you just kind of did things what is that, unabashedly or
Yeah.
unabandonedly?
Uh-huh.
And so that's where I find myself now, and I'm having a good old time.
Yeah. Yeah. If you have not gotten a chance to see Deborah's Instagram, she has a beautiful Instagram. Go on there. She posts images of her videos of her doing people's hair, doing her own hair.
Mhm.
And there's a lot, like she said, there's so much color.
Yeah.
And the color ways that you choose to mix together are always so beautiful.
We call them color stories, right? Because it is
Yeah.
a color story,
Story. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it is fun. At this stage of the game, I try to teach my clients how to have fun. Um, the way we show up in places, it is absolutely our right. My hair doesn't dictate whether I can or can't do a job.
Yeah.
right? And I understand for those places that are conservative, that's fine. I know how to be conservative,
I know that's right. I
right?
can put my braids back in the bun.
Come on, sure can. I sure can. And so, I'm going to go off for a moment. It just flashed in my head when the young man, I think he was wrestling, and they made him cut his locks off.
Yeah, yeah,
I think
yeah,
that is so troublesome.
yes,
How
yes,
dare you?
yeah.
And that wasn't a then. That was a you never liked them, and you
Hmm.
couldn't wait for
For a
that moment,
moment. Yeah,
and you
for a
used
moment.
that to say it was okay.
Hmm. Absolutely.
How dare you?
Hmm. And
Right?
he's not the only instance. I mean,
I
there have
know.
been
You know.
several instances where our young people in particular have been told that they can't wear braids or they can't wear locks or, whatever the case might be. They've missed out on homecoming,
Yeah.
proms, all these
Yeah.
graduations we've had kids miss out on because of their choice to wear their hair natural. And
Yeah.
it needs to stop. I it makes like where we're at right now in society with all of these different Senate bills coming through and all this stuff. It makes me so nervous because it seems like we're taking these steps backwards. But
Oh, absolutely. We absolutely are. We
taking these steps
absolutely are. So
backwards. But
your job becomes even more necessary.
yeah, that's what I
Right?
was gonna
Even
say. Like
more
people like
necessary.
us, like the work that we do, it's even more critical now.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow.
So, I am so looking forward. We're gonna have a blast.
Yeah, yeah. And do you have anything like last minute thing that you would like to speak about that we didn't cover?
I am part of a coalition. It's called the Natural Handbrake Coalition. And as we talked about, there's so much going on in the natural hair space and texture space. We talked about the Dove Act and how we need the Crown Act, how we need to have permission to wear our hair textured or in braids or in anything that would naturally grow out of our hair. And so it is our goal to level the playing ground, right?
Yeah,
To give validity and value to the way that we show up and
yeah,
fight for that through education and ethical education and hair care, right? Because there's so much going on in the textured hair space,
yeah,
right? With removal, we don't want to talk about textured hair.
yeah.
When you look at actors and actresses and models and all of these spaces where I have a full job and I can't get a service, that is part
Wow.
of my contract. As a hairstylist in this industry, when I'm booked on a job, I better know how to do everybody's hair that sits in my chair. It is not an option for me to say, I don't know how to do that. How is it an option for other people?
Yeah,
How?
yeah, yeah,
Right? So on that chord, I would love for the assistance of people going to that page, the Natural Hair and Braid Coalition on Instagram. We also have a website, and join us, right? Ethical education. Talk
yeah.
about textured hair. Fight for our right. We belong, and we are okay just like this.
Mm. I'm gonna make sure that once I post this video on my YouTube channel,
Mm-hmm.
the Black Beauty Activist YouTube channel, I'll make sure that I put all the links in there that Deborah's talking
Thank you.
about, the Braid Coalition, and as well as the I Love International I Love Braids Day. I'll put all those links in the description so that you all can have easy access to them. But I definitely would love to learn more about the coalition myself. So
Yes, wonderful. We'd love to have you be
yeah,
a part of it.
yeah,
You've already done, and Diane
yeah.
is a part of Natural Hair Break Coalition, Diane
Okay,
Bailey, right?
okay,
Diane
yeah,
DaCosta.
yeah,
So we have some heavy hitters,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
We have a wonderful board. We have wonderful women, Natasha Gaspard and Erin Maven, that are powerful. And we're really about correction,
nice, very nice. And
right?
that's really what it's education and correction.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so how can the audience stay connected with you, Deborah?
So my IG page, which is _OMHH Red Room and underscore OMHHINC for my brand, Om Inc. Additionally, my website, ohmyheavenlyhair.com, and that's OH as in O. And I think that, I mean, I have so many other spaces, but those are the main ones
Yeah.
that you can always find me.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. This was wonderful. And I'm so pumped. I'm going to get a chance to meet you.
Yeah,
I'm going to
yeah.
get a chance to meet Meredith when I come.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And I have another friend. I'm not sure if you know her or not. Her name is Carla Nelson. Carla, she is the founder of Black Fashion World. And Carla is the person that got me connected with Meredith.
Oh, I
And
love
so
it.
I'll get a chance to connect with her in person for the
I
first
love
time.
it.
So this
I
is
love
going to be
it.
like this family reunion I'm coming to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. And we're going to have a blast. So I hope to
Yes.
see your viewers there. I hope if
Yes.
you can't make it in person that you then follow us online and post
Yeah.
your photos of yourself or braids that you love with the hashtag I love braids
Yes.
day 2023. So it's
Wow. Wow.
always a pleasure. It goes by too fast,
I
obviously.
know it does.
But we did talk about a lot, so I'm very
Yes.
proud about the conversation, right?
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much, Deborah. It
You're
was such a
welcome.
pleasure to have you with us.
Yes.
Thank you. Have a good night. Peace.
Good night.
All right, everyone. So this is the part of the episode where I talk a little bit about research. And so today's research, I'm actually going to be giving you all a reference to an article that I wrote, Cornrows. I wrote this article for the Berg Encyclopedia of Fashion and Dress back in 2016. And in this article, I discussed the history and origins of cornrows, the art, the care of cornrows, the cornrows as a part of the Black Revolution, and of course, looking at celebrity significance with cornrows. And of course, I cannot speak about cornrows without talking about the cultural appropriation of cornrows. So please take a look at this article, learn more about Black culture, learn more about Black hair, about Black hairstyle cornrows in particular, and stay woke, stay connected, and I'll continue this work. Deborah will continue this work, and there's many other of us that are in this space that are promoting and advocating for Black culture and Black beauty. And so we're going to be staying in this space until it becomes a day where it's no longer needed. And as we were talking about, based on all the things that have been going on with these crazy Senate bills, it's even more critical that we have a better understanding of ourselves as Black people, that even if you are a non-Black person, that you have a better understanding, because this is not just Black cultural education. This is American. This is a global. These things about Black hair, these things about Black beauty is a global issue. It's not just an American, it's not just an African American issue. This is a global issue. And so if you are a part of the global society, you will want to learn, you'll want to know about how these things impact you and the people that you care about. And so this episode of the Black Beauty Activist podcast was brought to you by my latest book. I spoke a little bit about it a little earlier when I was talking with Deborah. Black Hair in a White World. This is my 5th book, and it's my beloved book, the first one that I'm going on tour with. I'm going to be so far going to about 5 or 6 different cities so far, and I'm lining others up. So I'll be coming to a city near you. On my social media, I'll be posting real soon what that tour schedule looks like. So hopefully, if I'm in your city, you can stop by and take a look and come and meet me, get a book signed, and learn more about Black hair. So if you haven't already picked up your copy, please do. You can do that on Barnes & Noble's website, or you can do that on Amazon. And I look forward to seeing you on the tour. I'm really pumped up about this. And I'm looking to make this book an Amazon bestseller, a New York Times bestseller. So, help me in that. Pick up your copy, learn about Black hair and culture, learn about Black people, and how this is, like I said, this is not just about Black people in America. This is a global issue. Any place in the world where there has been colonization, there has been Black hair struggle. There has been Black hair in a white world struggle. So please pick up your copy, learn, become more educated, and in education becomes there's a essence of empathy that comes along with that. When you know more, you're able to empathize more, which means that if there's some empathy there, then there's a good chance that we're going to be knocking down and deconstructing some of those racial barriers and walls that we have up amongst our people. So please go ahead and pick up your copy. And for those of you that were listening, I thank you. I thank you for listening. Again, the link for the cornrows article is on there on the screen. For those of you that are listening, you can go to www.academia.edu 33401412 /cornrows_PDF, and you can get your copy of the cornrows article. If you just go on Google and type in cornrows Dr. Tameka Ellington, it will come up and you'll be able to get it. But thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure that you leave a comment on my YouTube, that you share it in your circles for those people that you know will benefit from this information. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel, the Black Beauty Activist Podcast. Always, always remember, on the other side of fear is your beautiful confidence. Peace and blessings, everyone.